Alexander, and this is Jack Lazzaro. Together we host the No NDB podcast, Tales from the Trailer. Thank you for joining us today. Like, share, and follow. Today on the No NDB podcast, we have a really fun and interesting guest. He is somebody that works in the transportation department. His name is Reggie Hayes, but he is so much more. He's an entrepreneur, he creates, and he's a wizard. He's just a wizard.
He's just a wizard. Yeah. I mean, he sees a need, he fills a need. He is resourceful, resilient, always thinking outside the box. Yes, he does transpo, but so much more. I can't wait for y'all to hear Reggie Hayes on the No NDB podcast, Tales from the Trailer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your next episode of Tales from the Trailer on No NDB podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lazzaro.
I'm Karyn Alexander.
And this is Reggie Hayes.
Hey.
Yay! Teamster extraordinaire.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, extraordinaire.
Well, because there's so many other things, as our audience is about to find out. There's many facets to
The Reggies.
Reggie Hayes.
It's all good, though. It's all good. We met Reggie working on a film in Wilmington, North Carolina just a few months ago, but it is a fun and close relationship. We think of Reggie as part of the hair and makeup department.
Well, because he was part of the hair and makeup department.
I have a beautiful unicorn clock because of him.
Oh, that's where that ended up. I wondered. I was like, my little girl is going to love this unicorn clock.
Gone.
No, it's going to go. Someday when I work in a trailer again, it will be in that trailer. You will live
So
on.
at the beginning of every production, it's always, hey, what do you guys need? I'm going shopping. Can I pick anything up? We need a clock. So I'm walking around Walmart and I'm like, I'm not getting just a clock here. Like, you got to, we're going to step it up a notch. And I saw that unicorn clock and I was like, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. So I said at the end of the production, my little 5-year-old is definitely going to want that. And but the older 5-year-old ended up with it. So that's fine.
That would be me. Yes, we all worked together on a show in Wilmington, North Carolina. Reggie was in charge of our trailer, moving it around and also just maintaining and keeping us from going crazy. He was amazing at his job. But
But I have to say that there's
Captain, all the things.
Yeah, there's just because people are in transpo does not mean that they are like an old Hollywood transportation driver.
Teamster.
Yeah, the Teamsters. These were guys when I was coming up that they just had broke the mold. They would mop before you came in, and they would handle up on everything periodically throughout the day. And then I worked in a couple of other markets, states and markets where it wasn't so much people carrying the torch of how that job should be done. And early in my career, I was like, this is different than when I very first got in here, which it was such a breath of fresh air when we got to work with you a few months ago, because I don't know who raised you, but they raised you right, sir.
Well, thank you for that. But credit to my mother and my wife for raising me. But
I meant, who's your work mother? Who's your work wife?
I have worked with some really great guys over the years. And I think that's one of the things that North Carolina really prides itself on. I'm not trying to sell North Carolina as, for the film industry.
North Carolina,
but no, we have a lot of productions that come here and they expect whatever they expect in their minds. I'm just going to say that they don't seem to have the bar very high, but we're hospitable. We enjoy the work that we do, and I think it shows to the crew members, not just the producing team or the actors, but the costumes or hair and makeup departments. I mean, they get to see that we take a lot of pride in not just towing trailers around or sitting in the stake beds all day. We're very active.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I mean, there is a lot to being a Teamster in the film industry as opposed to just pulling trailers and stuff like that. You guys work grueling hours. You are expected to to do things quickly, efficiently, and sometimes with not enough crew and double backing and all the things. I have a huge appreciation for our Teamsters.
Well, thank you.
I think it is an incredibly important job. You move the company. You make sure things get where they have to go. You make sure that the supplies get where they have to go. You are kind of the base. If transportation sucks, we're all in trouble. So I have a huge appreciation for the Teamsters, but it was a breath of fresh air when we walked in, and our first trailer in North Carolina, let's be honest, was a little scary and a little small.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of all knew it wasn't going to work. And then they delivered this ginormous, gorgeous, beautiful trailer, and we got Reggie as our full-time driver.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing event. The whole show was amazing in North Carolina from tip to top, and part of that, though, was from you. You
Well, thank you.
provided the homey warmth that we got in our trailer every day when we came in, and I always knew that things were going to be right.
Yeah,
But-
because you guys are creatives. Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No.
Well, so you guys are the creative team behind the creative team. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure, for me, I'll speak for me, that I want to make sure that you guys show up for work and there's not a hindrance of the comforts of your trailer or the placement. Maybe it's leaning too far to one side or whatever,
Standing on a hill?
Well, there is a thing. There's a running joke that we have. Well, we want the trailer to lean one side just a little bit so that you fall out the door and go to work and get the day done. But
There's nothing worse than showing up for work in your trailer not being open.
Or cold or whatever.
Cold or
Yeah.
hot or no electricity.
How about the now one thing that never happened was especially because in hair you have to wash
Water.
hair sometimes. The water was always topped up because it hasn't been that way on other productions. It was always pre-warmed so that it was ready to go when an actor sat in. So one thing that we didn't have to do was apologize for you or for your department ever, and that was
That was
Wow.
nice.
a cut above.
The
And
last
people don't
thing
think
you
about
want.
those little things because it does. We get 18 minutes to set up and prepare for our cast to walk in the door, and if half of our 18 minutes are spent finding out why the trailers aren't this, doing all those things, it was a true pleasure. And again, I really appreciate you guys and the hours that you work and the time that you guys put in.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it makes for long days, but working with guys, like you guys, I mean, it makes it so much better, so much more easier to bear those 16 and 17-hour days on our end.
How did you get started in all this? How did Reggie become a film transportation teamster?
Interesting story. So not to go too far back, but long story short, I picked up a video camera in 12th grade and saw the world through the eye of a camera lens for the first time. And from that moment on, I went to a guidance counselor during career week or career day or whatever, job shadow, and I said, I want to job shadow the producers from Dawson's Creek. That was the big thing back then. And they were an hour and a half from my hometown. So I got the internship set up, or the job shadow, the day of production set up. And do you know,
That's a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, so I went down for the day, had a great time. I met, the producing team behind it. And what's interesting in full circle is that team went on to do One Tree Hill. And I went to the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. I hand-delivered my application. I said, I'm coming to this university. And they were like, okay. And so I don't think I could ever get in like that today. But they let me in. I got a degree in film studies. Spent the last 2 years at the School of Business and trying to learn operations management and as much as I could about just the business side of things. And during that time, I became an intern on One Tree Hill, and that turned into, background extra to eventually getting hired as a day player and then becoming full-time, and stayed with that producing team, or at least, David Hartley, who was the UPM at the time on that. And we did several shows after
In what
that.
capacity were you working? In production?
During the internship, so I was a PA.
Okay.
And then I had my commercial driver's license at 18. I drove limousines in college. And that was a really good segue.
I'm sure there's some stories there.
There's quite a few.
Because I know what I've been like in the back of a limo.
I lived the movie Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so that was an easy segue when they were like, well, hey, what do you want to do? What department do you think you want to be in? And I'm like, man, camera would be cool, But I was like, what are those guys standing around over there? They got their arms, on the hood of the trucks. What do they do? And they were like, those are the Teamsters,
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that job.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that was an easy segue from going from there to hopping in a van and driving a 15-passenger van on a couple of shows to driving trucks.
Nice. Do you enjoy driving trucks?
I do. I have way more stories cross country, like traveling, that was not part of the film industry. Well, it was part of the entertainment industry for doing sports broadcasts and Super
So what
Bowls.
was that?
And
Tell us
Yeah,
about
tell
that.
us tell us about when you put features down and you picked up sports broadcasting.
well, I left. I didn't leave the film. The film industry left me.
Yeah, as it does.
Around 2014, we finished up, I want to say it was Sleepy Hollow, the series. And they were getting ready to leave North Carolina after season 1. And North Carolina, the politics got in the way, and the film industry left North Carolina for several years. And it was a sad time because we knew when we were wrapping that show that we were all going our separate ways. And it was a pretty sad time because these people that I had worked with for the last 7 years at that point, 7 or 8 years, we didn't know where we were going to land. So I ended up with a company locally, driving trucks for them to sporting events. So I did a tour with WWE, did PGA golf, did U.S. Open in New York for tennis. So basically, I put a tractor trailer in downtown of every major city of the United States.
That's got to be a little nerve-wracking.
And
It was.
would you stay just with this broadcasting company, or would you stay with the PGA Tour? Or
No,
like-
I stayed with the company. So wherever they sent me. I stayed with the company, and then I ended up, getting married, trying to settle down, and ended up working from the office of the company. And I had a fantastic time. Learned a tremendous amount working for the company, and really love those guys. And still talk to some of them to this day.
And then, did film come back and you decided you wanted to get back into it, or how did you segue back into?
Well, it's that I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed. It's hard to imagine, Teamsters, but I enjoyed the creative side of it. I loved watching the creative side unfold. There was, I remember on One Tree Hill, I used to sit in the grip truck and I'd read the script, just so we know what's going on. And I'd be sitting there reading the script, but then I would get to go watch them film, and I'm like, I remember reading this. And I would watch that moment unfold when the actress would deliver her lines, and I'm like, yes, this is that moment. This is it. And, it was so just rewarding, I guess, to watch it unfold and watch it on the screen. And it's just, like you said, movie magic.
I have to fill the audience in here. It's very rare for a Teamster to read, especially in episodic. I have
read?
to alert them. Yeah. I meant
No, to read an
specifically
episodic.
not that no transpo people drive. Don't put words in my or read.
But
Don't
it's
put words in my
unusual
mouth.
to read the scripts.
A little
But
bit.
also, I think if you are a storyteller or a person who appreciates that magic, I call it the magic of making movies, it's really hard to stay away from it. Because one of my favorite things to do is just to watch our crew work. I like to be able to just sit back and watch Grip and Electric and Set Deck and everybody just create all this stuff, and then you do get to see it come to life, which is always so much fun. But it's interesting to me that you didn't want to step more into the creative side, that you preferred to stay back a little bit, or is it just the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet?
I would say probably more along the lines of the opportunity, but it takes a lot of guts to write something, create something, and see it through. And my hat is off to those that do it, because it takes a lot of tenacity and just, constantly, getting told no or getting rejected, but you pick right back up and then, knock on the next door like nothing has ever happened. And so it takes a lot of patience and a long time. I've always said it's a wonder any movie gets made. I am more interested in the financing side of it, the money side. Yeah, the business side. My background, like I said, I've studied business. I've owned several companies over the years, and it's just it's a more fascinating world for me. I think I would rather be in that world that says, hey, you have this world that you've created in this script. How can we bring that to life? So I would rather be on that side of it. But it is
the finance
incredible
side, the building of it side.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
I think
producing.
what we're getting from you, Reggie, is that you're no slouch, and
Not at all.
That is made no more apparent than I think it was day 2 that we were still loading in the trailer, because we had loaded into that tiny trailer, and then we had done the entire camera test, and then at 4:30 on a Friday, they were like, "Hey, can you move your whole the trailer?" The whole thing into a bigger trailer, and
even though I had asked to do that the day before.
You like 5 days before, Karyn. You had done your diligence, all right? And they were trying to drag their feet, and it took wardrobe being like, "This isn't gonna work," for them to be like, "Oh, it's not." Yeah. We were shouting this at you, so I remember going like, "And I can't even get an internet connection here, Reggie. Do you know who's in charge of the?" It turns out it was Reggie. Yes. And I never had to complain once after that, because you had come in and brought, tell us about that side hustle turned into turned into.
It's been very good. In 2021, thanks to, actually, I'm going to do a shout out here, but thanks to Jessica Chastain. We did a series in Wilmington, or mini series, and her entourage, they all had trouble with the internet, and I told the office, I said, hey, I can fix this, because I used to build these things for the Super Bowl and for these big sporting events. I can build a smaller version for production here. We did, and that birthed an entire division of a company that I started, and it has done very well over the last couple of years. In fact, we doubled in size just this summer alone.
So tell people what it is that you provide.
So I provide hotspots, Wi-Fi to Basecamp or productions in general, and that can be in the personal hotspots that everyone is very familiar with, but also I developed these rugged ones that are for use in the most remote locations and the worst storms. You can leave them out in the heat and the sun, the rain, the cold, and they still have to perform as good as if they were sitting, inside.
And let me tell you that they absolutely do. I was like, Reggie, this little hot spot, we're trying to do 2 trailers. He was like,
don't worry about it.
Hang on, let me Swiss Army knife you one right here. And then made, combined 2 of them and Frankenstein it and put it up on my side of the trailer. I was like, 5 bars all the time, all day, every day.
Production needs Wi-Fi. We need to be able to, most productions use Wi-Fi, your phones, everything else now to communicate. The computers, the tablets, everything are communicating all the time. And if you've ever been in that case where you had to stand outside your trailer and you're holding your phone up here because you're trying to send the email so that you can get a check request so that, it is really, really hard if you don't have Wi-Fi. So to come up with something like that is
genius.
Amazing.
It's genius.
And I would imagine completely and totally appreciated by everyone that you work with.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, so it's funny because I on the show that we met on, I actually broke my phone on day one, and the screen busted, couldn't see it. And I still had assignments to go do, and they were like, Reggie, are you sure you're going to be able, like, do you know where you're going? Do you know what you got to do? I'm like, I got it. And they were like, well, are you, do you need anything? I'm like, no, like, your phone's broke. I was like, listen, man, they made movies in the 80s. We can do it again.
Give me some map quests.
The only thing, someone once said, I can't be credited with this, but I can't remember who it was that told me, the only thing the cell phones have done in the film industry is delay the decision-making process. Because back in the day, they had to make a decision, and you ran with it until someone found a payphone and phoned home.
Yeah,
But,
'cause you couldn't change it.
Yeah. So leading up to today, post the pandemic, everything started going remote with a lot of Zoom sessions and
No paper.
productions. Yeah, and productions needing to really lean into the technology to be connected without interruptions. And so I did come up with a satellite unit, a whole series of the satellite stuff too. The thing is number one, it has to be incredibly user friendly.
Yes, because none of us know what we're doing.
With the Super Bowl stuff, you could hand these things off to these guys that run these $1 million equipments and these $8 million trucks, and they get it. They understand how the technology works. In the film industry, we hand it to a production assistant, and we say, good luck.
Yeah.
And so...
Or a hair and makeup artist, or somebody's assistant.
Yeah,
or...
but it has to be, easy to use, and it has to be rugged. It has to be completely like rugged and able to take some abuse, and no setup. They don't have time to set it up. You don't unpack something and put it all together. We eliminated all of that. So that was the simplicity of it. It's plugging in, and it just has to work.
Now, are other companies using it outside of North Carolina? Are you?
Yes, I have 3 productions in Los Angeles right now.
Okay.
And then we just finished 3 productions in Wilmington, and 1 finishes this month. And so, yeah.
So, how do you how do you marry the two? So, like, when you go in for your job, you're like, by the way, I have this that can help you? Or do you stay out of it until you see the need and then you speak up? Because you go in as a Teamster, as transportation.
That's right.
When does it come around the corner when you're like, oh, and by the way,
So
I got this thing over here that's going to save you?
It really doesn't, because in Wilmington,
Everybody knows
there's it's known. But not only that, I have a sales team that takes care of the sales on that, so there is no conflict of interest.
So you're kind of taken away from it, other than when you work on shows that they're actually using it, and then
I just build them.
Frantic phone calls from everybody going,
That's-
"Can you make my Wi-Fi better?"
Yeah, there's that. But I just build them. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I just build them, and I have it where I can manage everything remotely and on the go. So if they have trouble, productions are like, hey, we gave away the password too many times, and now the director's Wi-Fi is really slow. I'm like, let's fix that. So,
I can't tell you how many times that's happened to us. When
It
people
does.
go, can I get your password? And we're all like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Now your phones automatically share them to everybody, and you're like, oh shit.
Yep, that's right. So, we can go in remotely and do that instead of having to show up or go visit a production or whatever. And just being able to fix a lot of things like that on the go and fix things remotely helped
gotta be
tremendously, because productions don't like downtime.
Yeah, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie Hayes, streamlining the business for everybody.
Making it better, one Wi-Fi at a time.
One Wi-Fi
Yeah.
at a time.
It's a good slogan.
So, now, do you work mostly in Wilmington? As far as Teamster
I
work
do
is?
now. Teamster-wise, yes.
Okay.
So it's our chapter is really small. So it actually only covers half of North Carolina, like Greensboro.
Charlotte's different?
Yeah, Charlotte is a different chapter or different local. So, yeah, that's why that was a really good incentive to creating a business that equipment could go work where I can't go work. The whole thing was really just a way for my wife to be able to stay home with the kids
Which is so important.
Yeah, and not have to go to work. And I said, listen, I'll start this company. You can help me run it. You can help me do the day-to-day with it. And she can. She can't do the technical stuff, but she can put it in her trunk and go take it to a production.
Absolutely.
Not everybody has to know how to break the machinery in order to make it work.
Yeah. So that was a lot of the motivation behind it, was to create, to try to level that playing field of saying there's a lot of ups and downs between jobs. Productions would start and end, and there's overlap, and you can't always go production to production.
Yeah.
And so that was where having a little side hustle would really help sort of fill in some of those gaps.
Tell us a little bit about being a studio Teamster. I think a lot of people think of Teamsters as the guys leaning on the front of the trucks.
I have a great Teamster story where it is literally that. I went to rural Louisiana, and I saw the gas station, the gas truck guy, and it says stay 50 feet away from this truck, and that guy wasn't smoking near the truck; he was smoking on the gas truck, and I was boy, we're not in Kansas anymore. Having moved there from Los Angeles.
It's a much different thing. So if you've never been to a set, you've never really been around it, give us your job description. Give us your day-to-day.
Well, Teamsters they're always the first ones in and the last ones out. And so the beauty of the Teamsters department, or the transportation department, is that with something like, I'll use you guys for example, hair and makeup. You're one of like maybe 3 positions out of that's it. It's one of 3 available positions.
Yeah.
And with Teamsters, there could be 30 or 40 drivers.
Right.
On
Yeah,
the show.
it's a much bigger department than we have.
Yeah, so the chances of landing one of those spots seem to be a little better. It did work out in that regard. And I'm speaking in Wilmington, where we get 3 or 4 productions at any given time.
But you guys are hired from a hiring hall, right? Like you get put on the roster and then they fill you.
Or do you have a hiring system? Like I know, like up in Boston and stuff, they have a hiring system where you have to hire certain people at different levels. Do you guys have that in Teamsters?
It's not like it's not like New York or anything like that, where they tell you who they're sending. Hey, we're sending you 10 guys. Here they are. It's a little different in our local, where you're hired based on reputation.
So you can hire who you want, as long as they're basically.
Because we are a right-to-work state.
Right.
So.
Do you guys hire off book a lot? Do you find that there's a need to hire off?
When they have to. If everyone's exhausted, off the list, and everyone's working or scattered or not available, they will hire off the list.
That happens. We hire off list.
Small markets, you're going to have that, but it's also few and far between when they do crack open the books and start hiring off book.
But you asked me earlier about the life of a Teamster. The weekends are kind of short. We oftentimes have to get up 3 a.m. on a Monday, or even be at the studio at 3 a.m. on a Monday. And so when production likes to be in at 7 a.m. and we're going to a location that's 20 or 30 minutes away, So
do you guys all go to the studio first and then go to location?
That's right. Yeah. So that's where we have to park the trailers, if it works out that way, unless there's parking somewhere else. But the last thing you want is your equipment left out somewhere and in a parking lot.
I've had stuff stolen out of an equipment sitting in Chicago.
So a lot of them will base out of the studio, and like I said, early Monday morning, hours before you see sunlight,
Yeah.
you're lugging cable. You know, you get there and you got to plug everything in, make sure it's all got power. Anything that you pull down the highway is subject to get something that has come loose or wiggled free or whatever the case may be when you get there. And so there's always something to be fixed, tended to, maintained, whatever the case may be. Not to mention, you know, when you get there, all the little things that pop up from the department needs, and they need to move, you know, things before the start of camera rolling. You know, we've got to transport dollies from, you know, working trucks up to set or something like that.
You guys basically provide all the equipment. You make sure all the equipment gets where it needs to go.
Right. And the other thing is, you know, we want to make sure that the trailers, I was taught by a good mentor / buddy of mine, David. We share the same last name, David Hayes, but he's been in the business a lot longer than I have. But he always said, you know, when anyone, an actor or hair and makeup, when they show up to their trailers, they want it to look like a hotel room, you know, just like you would want to walk into a hotel room. You don't want to see trash in the trash cans. You don't want to see dirt on the floor, you know, Coke, you know, spilled on the countertops. You know, you want to see everything nice and neat so that when they come in, you know, they're ready to go to work.
Yeah.
And how many pizza boxes filled with special effects appliances have you thrown away over the years?
I'm trying to... How many special effects appliances have I dug out of the trash? Where
There you go. That's a better question. Yeah.
This is a really cool memento.
For the audience at home,
It gets me every time.
we often use empty pizza boxes that haven't been filled with pizza. We'll spray 77 adhesive on the back of, or on the bottom of them, and then glue in our appliances so that they're easy to transport and they also don't get smushed. So it's.
And I can tell you how many times I've walked into a makeup trailer going, "Oh my God, there's pizza!"
Pizza? No, Karyn,
Nope.
there's no pizza.
Just a bunch of scars.
For that reason alone, that's why there's a pro tip. If it's not at the trash can or leaning against the trash can,
Do
it's
not throw it
probably
away.
not trash.
I know. If it's not yes, it's true. I've had drivers who take that to as far as they can go, but I've also had drivers that took a whole big thing of flowers that was sitting in the sink and throw them away.
Oh.
And you're like, the vase, everything? You got it all
Yeah.
had to go?
But that's not all he does, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
There's more.
Captain Reggie?
Yeah, so in my world, I used to call it ADD, you know, but in the business world, as it turns out, they call it being a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
But I started another company doing solar roofs for golf carts. And so I got tired of dealing with a problem and figured out how to help one person.
What was the problem?
So the start of it was craft service. Had a golf cart that, they have a golf cart and they would run all over the little town that we were filming in, Burgal, and or the studio lot.
I've worked in Burgal.
Yeah, it's a great little place to make a, you know,
Town square.
It's one of my favorite places that we film. Yeah. That in Southport. And but she would run all over town with between base camp and set and the working trucks with her golf cart, and she could not keep it plugged in enough. Not only that, you just want to hop in and go. And so I said, well, I bet we could make it solar. We could at least charge it by solar. And that was the start of it. And it did take a little while, but finally came up with a design for the roof of it. And
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. And not only that, but I have 2 investors that offered to put in for the company. And I went to them and I said, hey guys, listen, I think we're going to have to make our own panels. And they were like, oh, wow, I don't think we can do that. But lo and behold, we actually have our own panels being made out of a factory in China. And thanks. And I figured out the science behind it, and there's no other panels like it being made today. And so we are running full steam ahead with these things.
So will you continue to drive? Do you enjoy driving that much that you want to keep going back?
You know what, I do. I do enjoy driving, and you know, it's it's one of those things. We're like family. We are, and you guys can probably relate to that too in your department. But I have found that the 6-week productions are the sweet spot because
after that you start letting people see who you really are. I used to say 6 months, but we could go with 6 weeks.
No, I have found most everyone can hide their frustrations and all that stuff for about 2 months. But on that 2-month mark, the grumpiness starts to come out, the shortness, and you start snapping at each other. And I'm like, 6 weeks is where it's at.
We should have wrapped this up 2 weeks ago, y'all.
We should have walked away from this when we were all friends. I mean, I feel like you do go through that spot. I think every show goes to that spot, but then you get to the other side of it. You find your way around it. Yeah, I used to say 6 months. I don't want to do anything more than 6 months because then I
That's
can't.
a long.
I'm funny because I find that the first 2 weeks is just people learning if they're speaking the same language. And then you get about a month to 6 weeks of that honey spot. And then there's that, oh, brother, boy, do I want to say something to you. And you're like, okay, can we wrap?
Yep.
Is it rap time?
All right, let's pass out T-shirts.
and-
Let's go.
Yeah. My other philosophy is first week, last week. It's the only thing people remember. The first week on the show and the last week on the show. Everything in between is just fluff.
You know what?
So
That's
you got to bring
probably
it. You got to
true.
bring it the first week, and you got to bring it the last week.
That's
And
good
then-
advice because you're remembered on your first impression and your
And
last.
on your last.
And they don't remember what you say, but they know how you made them feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was saying Captain Reggie, I was going in a different direction. Although I think what you're doing now is amazing, and I hope that it leads to great and beautiful things. I was
Thank
talking
you.
to a day when we all walked into our trailer, and pinned on the back bulletin board was this beautiful little flyer saying that Reggie, Captain Reggie, was going to take the hair and makeup department out on a boat for the weekend.
Yeah, you kind of sandbagged us. You didn't say, I have boat, will travel. No,
I
you didn't
have
say
both.
that
So
at all,
we
did
got
you?
a hair and makeup day on the ocean or waterways of Wilmington because he also has a charter boat. Do you still have the charter boat?
Yes. So I
There's
had
another one.
Had a crazy run this past summer. I was on the boat for 5 and 6 days a week doing.
Wow, that's amazing though.
Yep, 2 charters a day, sometimes 3. I did 3 on Father's Day alone.
Well, because you had
Wow.
multiple captains. Did you still keep the
Yeah,
multiple captains
yeah.
going?
Still have multiple
Spectacular.
captains. They weren't quite as available this past summer as what I wish that they had been, but
You got to get Randy to get his license.
Hey,
He
there
wants
you
to
go.
be out there. I'm just not sure if I'd give him the boat to captain, but you know.
But it was a really fun time, and that was another really good reason to go with the solar cart because I was like, man, the place that we have the boat at, I hate to call it a yacht club to make it sound like that, but
It is, though.
yeah,
It's-
it is a
yeah.
yacht club. But we're on the housing side, on the private
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
and you got to drive all the way around the basin to get to the clubhouse. And the pool and the tennis courts and all this,
Yeah,
fancy
stuff.
bougie stuff. And so I said, wow, I wish I had a golf cart that I could just drive people around, go fix another
Yeah.
pina colada, go back to the boat, fix a pina colada, and come back. I said, but I don't have a way of plugging it in. But I wonder if I could charge it by solar as well, kind of like we were
Yeah.
thinking with craft service. So that was
It's
also
all going to blend
really-
together, isn't it?
It is, yes. So.
Do you still love the boat? Do you still love taking it out or making
Oh
it
yeah,
work?
yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it was like 35 degrees this past weekend, we went to see the holiday flotilla on the waterway.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, took a heater. The cabin is enclosed now, and it's really a fun chapter. We actually did double the sales this past summer that we were forecasted to do. So,
I mean, when we say that Reggie is a Teamster, we mean that very lightly.
Are you also a plane pilot? You got land, sea, and air? Next is air, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm living a Steve Martin movie, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Yes, yes.
Those
yes.
aren't pillows?
Well, I'll tell you, it all stems from moving people and equipment. So there you go.
It does. I
we're
mean, let's
just-
be honest. And 2 of your ideas came from on-set work
That's right. Yeah.
because Jessica Chastain
Yes.
and craft service.
Yes. That's right.
I mean, in a way, although the charter, but I mean, I think both of them are great. I love the fact that you are willing to take those ideas and you're not just like, I'm just going to lean on the truck until I don't have to anymore, and then I'll come up with some stuff. You're like a mover and a shaker already.
Well,
Yeah, because I don't know that people understand this, but for years we've called the transportation department the GRIP retirement plan. Is that you work your back and your knees until
I've never
you
heard
can't lift
this.
anything else, and then you go and you park your butt behind a 15-pass van and that's how you retire.
Oh,
you
that I
know
did
what?
not know.
He's not wrong because I know a couple that have done that. So
Well,
I
I
didn't
mean,
say it was the preferred method,
Yeah,
but it's definitely
yeah.
a channel that people run through. So
I mean,
Yeah.
Teamsters get a lot of jokes on set. Let's be honest. They are
we do.
sometimes the butt of a lot of jokes.
there are Simpsons jokes about Teamsters.
Teamsters.
yes. Oh, yes. You're right. You're
But
right.
again, I think there's such a valuable. And do you know how many people from the Teamsters department go on to produce and manage productions and everything else?
really-
Because it is a department
Yeah.
that has to know the inner workings of all the departments.
Yeah, they
Well-
go hand in hand with locations, and locations is a way to producing. So
Yeah, because
And-
we have touched every department. Like we have
Yes.
touched their equipment or move people for them. Like so,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we understand how the grip department works, what their needs are, for the most part. Not the intricacies, but
It's a great understanding of an entire crew is to work in the transportation department, especially if you're captaining or coordinating or even any of those kind of things. Even moving
Yeah.
base camp around and stuff like that, you're dealing with everybody's stuff. So you
Oh,
do
yeah.
have to have a general knowledge of what everyone does, and that moves you right into position to move up that line. So I've known a few people that have started in transportation that have gone on to produce.
oh wow.
Because it's the logical step in a sense, because once you're coordinating and then you're in production and you're in the production office, and then the next step is producing and line producing and UPM and just
it's also funny when somebody in production doesn't know about the overtime or turnaround time of transpo, and then they try to be like, well, can we just let people go early? And you're like, you're new here, aren't you?
But it's so weird because
You're not wrong because it
Teamster
is.
turnarounds are always a confusion because they all seem to be different.
Yeah, so I know with us it was 8 hours. So you get off by the time you get back to the studio, and
So your
with the
time
equipment.
is from the studio or from when you leave set?
Oftentimes it's from the studio because
Okay, yeah.
we have to be out of the commercial vehicle. That's our off time.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, oftentimes it is from leaving the studio, and to the time you got to be back would be 8 hours. And man, I tell you, it's really hard to go home.
I don't
and-
understand an 8-hour turnaround for Teamsters. I don't understand it because you guys are driving, and when you're tired, it's not good, especially van drivers and stuff
We-
too. They're driving the crew around.
Yeah, the van drivers. I mean, that's really
They don't
tough.
stop.
They don't.
They
They,
just-
really don't. They get these little cat naps in between. But
I mean, hair, makeup in LA always had 8 hours. We had 8
well, don't
hour
forget
turnarounds.
the other Teamsters are standing around, on the hood all day. So
Yeah,
just kidding.
but
I'm
they're
kidding.
not.
I'm
We're
kidding.
just joking when we say
Yes.
that. Again, I don't want all of our Teamster brothers to come at us hard and be
Yeah,
like, "We do
I
more
don't want
than
that.
that."
I have a joke that's at the tip of my. I'm just gonna say it.
No,
but,
I said it.
How do you tell
No,
which
it's
kids belong, which are the Teamster kids?
no. Why is the horse the mascot for Teamsters? It's because they're the only animal that can sleep standing up.
That's it. That is it.
Oh, I
That
was
is
like the
it.
one that was like, how do you tell the Teamster kids? They're the ones on the other side of the playground watching all the other kids play.
That's it too. Yep. That's it. That one is a little interesting in this day and age because now they've got videos where kids just want to sit around and watch other kids
I know.
play with toys on video.
I don't
unboxing,
understand it. So
the
they all just
unboxing.
want to be Teamsters. No, I mean, again, I used to be married to a Teamster, so I know the hours that they work. I know that the bullshit, and I know that he used to always, I hate to say it, but he hated wardrobe. He hated the costume truck. He just said that there was more problems came from the costume truck than any other truck that they had was that. But he made sure that I always kept my trailer clean.
There's a
It's
lot
like,
of
you
moving
make sure
parts.
you pick up after yourself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I will, I promise.
You know, there's not just a lot of moving parts to the equipment that we deal with, but there's a lot of personalities too. And so, you know, we have to absorb all
I mean,
of that,
costume gets its own driver.
They
Usually
do.
sometimes, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
they have a stake bed sometimes.
And if you don't like who you're stuck with working with, just wait 6 weeks and hopefully it'll
I'm not
change.
bitter that we don't have a
Hopefully,
stake bed.
hopefully they will change. Hopefully.
With 6 weeks to 6 months, then you're going to
There
get
you go.
someone new.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of personalities that you guys have to deal with. And not only that, you're usually getting us first thing in the morning. I'm usually at my best first 15 minutes at work. It's like, ah! I'm always like, I promise I'm going to be nicer later. I think the thing I usually say to most Teamsters when I meet them is, I'm going to ask for a lot of stuff right now, but it's going to help us in the future because then I won't ask for as much. So take the microwave out. I only need this chair. Get rid of the trash cans and get rid of all that stuff.
And
then I'm
keep
usually
up
fine.
with it during the whole time.
You know, there's nothing worse than a full trash can and no one takes it. Because it's not like we can take it anywhere.
Well,
Like, I
that
clean
was-
up after myself. I sweep up my own hair. I wipe down my, you know, I do all that. But there's nowhere to go with the trash can. You just fold
Yeah.
it and drop it outside, and it seems so rude.
That was my pro tip with hair and makeup. Anyone wanting to be a Teamster for hair and makeup trailer, you know, morning time, do that whole sweep and
Yeah.
mop it because, you know, your products and stuff, the hairspray, you know, ends up on the floor and it's sticky, like you said, and, you know, always make sure you mop it. And, but I always tried to go through either after the breakfast rush, when all of the breakfast trays go in the trash cans and then they fill them up, like do the breakfast sweep and the lunch sweep, post lunch. And
Those are two great sweeps.
yeah,
You also
appreciate-
you
you don't
also
even
found a
know
way to
how
do like
much-
6 more sweeps throughout the day. But
I
yeah, let's
don't
start
even,
with
I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that. Like, there's nothing.
no ants. That's
Jack
how
and
you
I
get
had
in.
an
Yeah,
ant adventure.
that's true.
We had trailers on the last show that we worked, not the last show, the Fear, when I worked on Fear, because they parked our trailers in a field. No, we had mice. They parked our trailers in a field for a month while we took our break in December. So when we came back in January, we had mice. They ate through all of his blood.
They ate through all of the wiring
They ate
in
through wiring. They ate through the water hoses.
pneumatic hoses. They
my
ate through it
gosh.
all. They found the Miss Betty drawer. They found the snack. They found all the snacky
Betty
treats.
drawer is the snack drawer. We couldn't have anything in our trailer that even resembled a food. Like they were eating paper.
They ate my Caro corn syrup blood, like the stuff that we don't really use all the time. I came over, I was like, "What's this?" And there was like little holes. And
They
it
were
was
jumping
like
into our set bags. You had to clear out your stuff. They ate through chairs.
they ate through chairs. They did. It was
that's
bad.
exactly
And
what
our
you want
driver
to
would
see.
come in every day and we'd be like, "So how's it going, Frank?" And he'd be like,
He couldn't even
he's
say
like, "I
it.
think they're living in the walls." And
We removed all the food from ours, and then the rats revolted and they moved over to the next trailer, and then they got rid of theirs, and then they kept moving. It was just
And one day we came in, the whole thing's covered in water, and it's because it had eaten through the water hose, so the whole,
Oh
like
my
all the
gosh.
water had come in.
Yeah,
And we're like, they're thirsty because we've been poisoning them.
Yes,
Because they were
that's-
putting poison down for them when we would leave without
That's the
us
worst
knowing,
thing
and
to
they were
do.
thirsty because of the poison. So
That's
they
the
were
worst thing to do in an RV because they get so thirsty they chew through the next thing they can find trying to find water.
Yeah,
And
sure.
they
and
can,
try to
did.
get out of there.
they'll
yeah.
do way more damage doing that than they would if you just trap them.
Well, we tried the paper trap. They tried.
They got out. They literally they took one of Karyn's trimmers and they just shaved themselves out of that trap.
It was so bad. It was so bad. We're like, if people would put food down on the table, we're like, no.
But that was not a Reggie Hayes show.
That was not. We didn't even
That
have
was not a
ants.
Reggie. We didn't know him yet. He is not
That
responsible
was not a
for
Reggie.
that.
No, it was not. Not.
Hey,
not at
Reggie,
all.
this has been great, and I know that we could go on for another couple of hours with
great.
your new business ideas and with all the
Thanks.
I'm
other
so excited for you.
entrepreneurial things that you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
But I'd like to keep it humble here. We're going to go to our hard-hitting questions,
All right.
and I'd like to know, what's your favorite jock jam?
Oh, we're gonna go right there. Jumping right in.
Fantastic voyage.
Now I've heard you karaoke. Can
Wait
you
a
give me
minute.
few tune?
You know,
I have video
that
of
was
him
a
karaoke
really
that may come to play later.
that was a really fun night, and I can count on one finger how many times I've been karaokeing with the hair and makeup department.
Me too. And all the lead cast and directors and everybody else.
Yes, that was really fun. So Jock Jam.
That's for Tales for the Trailer After Dark.
Those
We're-
secrets and those videos will come later.
So does the Jock Jam have to come from the Jock Jam's album, 1997? Because
No, but it's bonus points if you do.
Wow! If you can do that.
Now
then
that's
yes.
what I call jock jams.
oh, wait a minute. Fantastic Voyage was on MTV Party to Go. Jock
Yes,
Jams was It Takes Two, Rob Bass.
Oh,
Yes, and
That's what-
DJ Ed Rock.
Also a good
that's
one.
that
Or
has
Easy
been
Rock.
taken.
Yeah.
That's something Jack has mentioned before. So is
Donna-
that it?
Because
Is that your
it's
song?
a
Is
great
that the one you're gonna go with?
I remember Donna Summer Last Dance. That was my biggest request because that one starts off nice and slow, but
We
boy, it's
actually
a
did
party
that
at
on
the end.
Merv.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
one of the last songs we played when everybody was rapping, and we made Charlie
Last
dance to it.
Dance.
That was my request.
So it's 3 a.m. You've been on set for 16 hours, and you're cruising by the craft table. What's your favorite crafty snack?
Favorite crafty snack? Cocaine and Red Bull. Can I say that?
Legal.
You can-
legal crafty.
Okay. Hold on.
Hearsay.
All right, yeah. Actually, yeah, because I don't really like Red Bull that much.
Nobody really does.
He doesn't like cocaine. He just loves the smell.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be really funny if I get a random next week. I'm gonna call you. Be like, I got
You
popped
get
for a random.
tested.
That's an attestament to your, audience
Yeah.
level.
Well, if somebody sees it,
Cowtails. Cowtails are my go-to.
Oh.
If they
wow,
got
that's a blast from the
cowtails,
past.
that's
Okay.
it. Grab and go.
Now that's a Southerner.
Yeah.
That's a Southern thing. Cowtail.
What's the beverage that you would chase that cowtail with?
Well, I don't want to drag it out, but just a simple Coke. But Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola
or
with
Pepsi,
the BC headache powder?
Yeah, no. So at craft service on a movie that we recently did together.
Yeah. The shirt that you're wearing, Merv.
Yes. I always have my Yeti cup here. I love this
Yeah.
Yeti. My mother gave it to me. I didn't think I was a Yeti guy, but I do enjoy it. But
Yes.
I carry it with me all the time. And I went up to craft service on that, and I was like, my drink, it still has like that little taste of rum in it, from the weekend. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, do you know why it probably has that little taste of
Because you
rum?
didn't clean it.
Because it still has rum in it. Turned around, and there was one of the producers, and I was like, it's just hypothetically at least. And walked off.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical thing. Not
don't
that
need
you
to
would
know.
ever drink rum on a boat. What? Because I kind of feel like we did drink some rum on a boat.
It was a
It'd be a
little
lot cooler if you did.
Because that's my craft story, or craft service story.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
What is your go-to breakfast in the morning?
I'm not a breakfast guy. I'm happy with an apple and a coffee, or watermelon, and just eat later.
So
After
do you go till first hot snack, or do you go all the way till lunch?
How far do you take this?
Yeah, Reggie the Machine. Hayes.
By the time the first hot snack is out, usually I've been at work for about 6 hours. So
it's done.
that's kind of lunch. So yeah.
Nice. I do love a good hot snack. I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hot dog o'clock.
Great way to
The one
pick
show, you remember that? Was it you that I
Elevensies.
worked with the Elevensies? That they served a hot dog? They served hot dogs every day? Do you remember that? Was that you at Hot Dog O'Clock?
No.
And then on Fear, it was Tinfoil O'Clock because
Whatever thing was wrapped in tinfoil, we're eating it.
Sandwich o'clock. Because Reva would always do on Fear. She always did the sandwiches. Remember, the cart would come by and people would like just like you thought that we were dying. We were just like trying to grab.
I've never seen
sandwiches.
people queue up for an egg salad sandwich before, or half of an egg salad sandwich before. I was
on
like,
basic bread.
You can't beat a
Basic.
creative craft service, though.
No, you
Man,
can't.
it's just keeps it.
I don't know.
makes the
Reva's
crew
pretty
work.
amazing. I love Reva. She does a great job.
Oh gosh,
Shout out to
yes,
Reva.
love Reva.
She's so super
Yes.
fun, but she just couldn't keep up with the sandwiches on that show. People would just mob her. It was so sad.
So, having been on productions from the Dawson's Creek and One
Era.
Tree Hill days forward. What was the best rap gift you ever got? And
Except for
if
the
you
AD
want to,
team giving you a
man.
T-shirt.
and the worst
Yeah.
as well.
No. So I remember on One Tree Hill, they gave everyone flip cameras. There were these little USB camcorders that flipped out. Of
Wow.
course, and they said One Tree Hill on them. And,
Digital cameras.
today, fast forward, I don't know, 10, 15 years later, they're not the greatest quality that we have today. But back
Right.
then, they were really cool. And so I thought that was a really cool wrap gift. And the iPod, little iPods that had One Tree Hill on them and stuff. So really cool.
So One Tree Hill was
creative.
killing
One
it back
Tree
then.
Hill came with the swag. I like
Well,
it.
I miss the Dawson's Creek days where they gave out bicycles. Now, a lot of guys, to this day, I still see the Dawson's Creek
still
bicycles.
beach cruising on that
Yeah.
Dawson's.
I still see them on the lot from time to time.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had a bike. I'd like a bike. I
but-
think that'd be good. I'd like an electric bike. Can you make that happen for me, please?
Well, only
Solar.
if it will
solar
solarly
power.
power
There
itself.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have enjoyed talking to you. I miss your face. I
Yes,
miss you in the
miss you
trailer.
guys.
It was not the same on the last show without you. I was just like, I need Reggie. And I put a Suns Out, Buns Out mat, and nobody appreciated it. Nobody really got me. It was hard not having you there.
She didn't get to have
Aw.
fun tattoo appointments with co-creatives.
That first day when Karyn walked into the trailer, she goes, and damn it, my name is Karyn and I'm going to live up to it. Yes, I knew I'd
Yes,
love
I
you
probably did.
from then forward.
Yes. Well, here's to working together again and quickly too.
Yes.
Hopefully. Yes.
would be
And
the
if
best.
not, when you become the solar panel golf car mogul that you were going to become, we'll all just go to an island somewhere and drink.
I mean,
That's right.
we
Yes.
could train our replacement.
Come on back
great.
anytime. You come.
I
come
know.
On back.
It's so funny. I almost went there a couple of weeks ago. My friend worked on they just opened that new studio, that Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Lynette was there working on something, and I was going to go with her, but something got in the way. But I would have rung you up and we'd have gone to have Greek food.
That's it. Yes.
I know.
All right.
Good times. Thank you again.
Well, thank you
for
guys
being
very
with
much.
us.
This is
Yeah,
fun.
And we miss you.
stick by your phone because we like to circle back around again and see what you're up to now. I can't wait to hear the other 17 businesses that you've come up with in the past 17 seconds.
Remember,
I know.
it's
We just
serial
saw you
entrepreneur.
in like March, May, June. I don't even know when that was. When did we see you last?
It is, I think
6
it was
months.
June. Yeah.
Hello
June.
to family and wife and everything too. We really didn't even
Yes.
get to get into all that, but we will.
I know.
So more for the next interview. More
Yes.
for
Yes.
next time.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank
All
you
right,
guys.
you've been listening to the No NDB podcast, Tales from the Trailer. Have a great day.
Bye.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Karyn Alexander, and this is Jack Lazzaro. Together we host the No NDB podcast,